Hello, my friends. I am happy you are here. Picture a palace basement. It is late at night. December 1916, St. Petersburg. A group of powerful men are waiting in a small room. On the table, a plate of cakes. The cakes are filled with poison. Enough poison to kill 5 men. One guest is coming tonight. A peasant. A peasant is a poor farmer. Someone from the countryside. But this peasant is not an ordinary man. He has walked into the private rooms of the Russian royal family. He has healed a prince that doctors could not save, and he has made enemies who want him gone forever. His name is Grigori Rasputin. He eats the poisoned cakes. He drinks poisoned wine, and he keeps talking. He keeps smiling. The men watching him cannot believe what they are seeing. What happens next will become one of the strangest stories in Russian history. We will come back to it at the end. Today, we will listen to the life of Rasputin. Take a moment to relax. Let your body be comfortable, and let this story carry you back more than 100 years. Rasputin was born around 1869. The exact date is not known. Peasant families in that time did not always record births carefully. He was born in a small village called Pokrovskoye. Pokrovskoye is in Siberia. Siberia is a vast, cold region in the east of Russia. His family were farmers, poor farmers. Life in the village was hard. Winters were long and brutal. Brutal means extremely harsh and difficult. Food was never guaranteed. As a boy, Rasputin was different. He did not enjoy school. In fact, he never learned to read or write well. Not as a child, not as a young man. He signed his name with difficulty for most of his life. But there was something else about him. Villagers said he could see things other people could not see. They said he predicted a horse thief before anyone found the missing horse. A thief is a person who steals. They said he had strange dreams that came true. Whether these stories were real, exaggerated, or invented later, nobody can say for certain. What is certain is this. Young Rasputin was wild. He drank. He got into fights. He had a reputation with women in the village. A reputation means what people think and say about you. Some neighbors avoided him. Others were drawn to him. Then, something happened that changed the direction of his life. He later claimed he had a vision. A vision means seeing something that feels real, but only in your mind. He said the Virgin Mary appeared to him in a field. After that, he left his village. He walked to a monastery. A monastery is a place where religious men live and pray. He stayed there for months. He came back different. Calmer, more intense. Intense means feeling things very strongly. And he began to call himself something new. A starets. A starets is a wandering holy man in the Russian Orthodox tradition, believed to have special spiritual wisdom. The peasant boy from Siberia was becoming someone else. Rasputin left Pokrovskoye and began to travel. He walked across Russia. Sometimes he walked to Greece. He even walked as far as Jerusalem. He visited monasteries. He talked with monks and priests. He learned scripture by listening, since he could barely read it himself. He grew a long beard. His eyes were pale gray, almost unsettling. Unsettling means it makes people feel uncomfortable, uneasy. People who met him for the first time often said the same thing. They said his eyes seemed to look directly into them. He arrived in St. Petersburg around 1903. St. Petersburg was the capital of Russia at that time. It was full of nobles, priests, and powerful families, a city very far from his small village. At first, almost nobody paid attention to him. He was one of many wandering holy men in the city. But slowly, people began to talk. They said he could heal the sick. They said he could calm the anxious. Anxious means feeling worried or nervous. Wealthy women invited him into their homes. They listened to him for hours. Was he truly holy? Or was he simply very good at understanding what people needed to hear? Historians still argue about this today. What is not in question is his effect on people. When Rasputin spoke to someone directly, quietly, they often felt something powerful. Some called it peace. Others called it something closer to hypnosis. Hypnosis is a state where a person becomes deeply focused and easily influenced. Word of this strange, magnetic peasant began to travel through the highest circles of the city. And eventually, it reached the one family in Russia with more power than anyone else: the Romanovs, the imperial family that had ruled Russia for 300 years. In 1905, Rasputin met Tsar Nicholas II and his wife, Alexandra. Tsar is the title for the Emperor of Russia. They had 4 daughters. And finally, in 1904, a son. A son to carry the throne after Nicholas. His name was Alexei. The birth of Alexei should have been the happiest moment of their lives. Instead, it became their deepest fear. Alexei had hemophilia. Hemophilia is a condition where the blood does not clot normally. Clot means to thicken and stop flowing, the way blood should after an injury. For a child with hemophilia, even a small fall, a small cut, could be deadly. Internal bleeding could go on for days. Doctors of that time had almost no way to stop it. Nicholas and Alexandra hid this secret from the public. They were terrified. Terrified that if Russia knew the future Tsar was dying slowly, it would weaken the empire. So they searched, quietly, desperately, for anyone who could help. They tried doctor after doctor. Nothing worked. Then someone introduced them to Rasputin. Nobody knows exactly what he did in that first meeting with Alexei. Some say he simply sat with the boy and prayed. Some say he told stories in a low, calm voice until the boy relaxed. And when a person is calm, their heart rate slows, their blood pressure drops, and in some cases with hemophilia, that alone can reduce bleeding. Whatever the reason, Alexei got better. Not once. Several times over the following years, when doctors had given up hope, Rasputin was called, and Alexei recovered. For Alexandra, this was not a coincidence. A coincidence is when 2 things happen together by chance, without a real connection. For her, this was proof. Proof that God had sent this strange man to save her son. From that point forward, Rasputin was no longer just a visitor to the palace. He became untouchable. By 1907, Rasputin had a private door into the lives of the Tsar and Tsarina. Tsarina is the title for the wife of the Tsar. He came and went from the palace freely. He wrote letters directly to Alexandra. She wrote back, calling him our friend. This access gave him something no ordinary peasant in Russia had ever held. Influence. Real influence over decisions that shaped an entire empire. Alexandra began asking his opinion on more than just her son's health. She asked which priests should be promoted. She asked which government ministers he trusted. Minister is a high official who manages a part of the government. And more than once, Nicholas made decisions based on advice that had come quietly through Rasputin. Word spread through the court. Some nobles were furious. Furious means extremely angry. They watched an uneducated peasant from Siberia gain more real power than generals, dukes, and bishops who had served the empire for decades. Rumors grew darker. People whispered that Rasputin held wild parties. They said he drank heavily in the city's restaurants. They said women visited his apartment late at night. Newspapers began printing stories, some true, many exaggerated. Exaggerated means made to sound bigger or worse than reality. Alexandra refused to believe any of it. She saw a holy man who had saved her son's life. She could not see, or would not see, what everyone else was watching happen around her. And outside the palace walls, Russia itself was falling apart. The years between 1905 and 1916 were not kind to Russia. There had already been one failed revolution, in 1905. A revolution is when the people rise up to overthrow their government. Workers were hungry. Factories were dangerous. The gap between the wealthy nobles and the starving poor kept growing wider. Then, in 1914, came something far worse. World War I. Russia sent millions of soldiers to fight. Millions never came home. Food shortages spread across the country. A shortage means there is not enough of something for everyone who needs it. Cities grew cold and desperate. And in the middle of all this suffering, rumors about Rasputin only grew louder. In 1915, Nicholas made a decision that would change everything. He left the capital to personally command the army at the front. The front is where the fighting happens in a war. That left Alexandra in charge of the government back home. And Alexandra trusted one voice above all others: Rasputin. Soon, it was widely believed across Russia that Rasputin was choosing government ministers, that he was influencing military decisions, that a barely literate peasant from Siberia was quietly running an empire at war. Barely literate means someone who can read and write only with great difficulty. Whether this was fully true or dramatically exaggerated, it did not matter anymore. The public believed it. And a public that believes something enough will act on it. Trust in the royal family collapsed. People began to say the empire was cursed. Cursed means suffering under some kind of dark, unstoppable misfortune. And a small group of powerful men decided there was only one solution left. Rasputin had to die. The plan was organized by a small circle of noblemen. Noblemen means men from wealthy, aristocratic families. One of them, Prince Felix Yusupov, invited Rasputin to his palace late one December night. He told him it was a private party. Rasputin arrived. He was offered cakes filled with enough cyanide to kill several men. Cyanide is an extremely fast and deadly poison. He ate them. Nothing happened. He was given poisoned wine. He drank glass after glass. Still, nothing happened. Yusupov, terrified and confused, went upstairs to get help. He came back with a gun. He shot Rasputin in the chest. Rasputin fell to the floor. The men believed he was dead. They left the room to plan what to do with the body. Minutes later, one of them returned, and Rasputin was gone. He had gotten up. He had crawled out into the palace courtyard. A courtyard is an open area surrounded by the walls of a building. He was trying to escape into the freezing December night. The men chased him. They shot him again, this time in the back. He fell into the snow. They shot him a third time. Some accounts say a fourth. Then, finally, they wrapped his body and drove to a frozen river. They broke a hole through the ice, and they pushed him through. 3 days later, his body was found downstream. When doctors examined it, they discovered something that shocked everyone. There was water in his lungs, which meant when he entered that river, he was still breathing. News of Rasputin's death spread through Russia within days. For his killers, it felt like relief. They believed removing him would save the monarchy. Monarchy means a country ruled by a king, queen, or emperor. They were wrong. Rasputin's death did not fix Russia. The war continued. The hunger continued. The anger of millions of exhausted, starving people continued to build. Just weeks after his death, in early 1917, protests broke out in the capital. Soldiers refused to fire on their own people. Within months, Nicholas was forced to give up the throne. He gave up his crown. His family was placed under arrest. And in 1918, Nicholas, Alexandra, and all 5 of their children, including Alexei, the boy Rasputin had tried so hard to save, were executed. Executed means killed as a punishment, usually by the state. The empire that had ruled Russia for 300 years was gone. Rasputin had once told Alexandra something strange in a letter years before his death. He warned her that if he were killed by nobles, the family would not survive more than 2 years. Historians still debate whether this letter is completely authentic. Authentic means genuinely real, not invented or changed later. But the timing is difficult to ignore. More than 100 years later, people still argue about who Rasputin really was. Some see a manipulative fraud. Fraud means someone who deceives people for personal gain. A man who used a sick child to gain power over an empire. Others see something more complicated. A desperate mother, a dying boy, a strange man who, by luck, by skill, or by something no one has ever fully explained, brought relief when nothing else worked. Maybe both are true at once. His story is not really about magic. It is about what happens when people are desperate enough to believe in anything. Alexandra was not foolish. Foolish means lacking good judgment. She was a mother watching her son suffer, with no one else offering hope. And that is worth remembering. Desperation can make even careful people trust the wrong voice completely. You are here today. You are listening to this story in English. Maybe some words were new for you. Maybe some parts were difficult to follow. But you kept listening. You stayed with the story all the way to the end. That kind of patience, that kind of persistence is exactly how real learning happens. Persistence means continuing to try, even when something is hard. Every story you listen to in English makes you a little stronger. Every new word you understand opens a new door. Keep going, my friends. Keep listening. Keep learning. You are doing something that matters. If this story stayed with you, please take a moment to subscribe to our channel. It is free, and your subscription helps us create more stories like this one for you. If you enjoyed the video, please click the like button. It helps other people find us. It helps our community grow. And please leave us a comment below. Tell us, do you think Rasputin was a healer, a manipulator, or something in between? I would love to read your answer. Until our next story, take care of yourself, be kind to others, and never stop learning. I will see you very soon. Goodbye for now, my friends.